Coming up on Wavelength, Mark Rose becomes LCRA's 7th General Manager. We'll update you on our water measurement program down on the rice fields, and the Sim Gideon Power Plant celebrates its 25th anniversary. Those stories and much more next on Wavelength.
From the Lower Colorado River Authority, this is Wavelength.
Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wavelength. The decision on who would be LCRA's next general manager was made rather decisively by the board at their last meeting. Mark Rose becomes the 7th general manager of LCRA, and at 37 years old, the youngest in the agency's 55-year history. Board members say the vote of confidence in Rose was in large part due to the good job he had done since becoming acting general manager in April.
I feel that Mark has proven himself in the last 3 months during very difficult decisions in time. His background and experience in doing so and the delay in a search weighed in his favor, and I felt we made the right choice for sure.
Well, I felt that he knew the people, he knew our problems. Wholesale customers supported him, employees supported him. He could go right to work. It wouldn't be like bringing somebody in and educating them and losing a lot of time. So I think it was a good move on the part of the board.
Mark Rose has spent his
Rose joined LCRA in July of 1987 as Director of Administration, leaving a highly visible and successful political career. After just a year, he was appointed Deputy General Manager and assumed day-to-day staff oversight and coordination. For the Rose family, Austin has always been home.
Most folks at LCRA have had an opportunity to meet me, but have not had an opportunity to meet my family. In fact, we also don't have the opportunity to get together like this very often. My wife, Celeste, we met when she was going to Baylor. She works at the controller's office. We moved to Austin when we were married. We've had all of our children here. This is our youngest, Camille. She's 4, which she knows, which is good. And Matthew, who is 8, and Carly, who is 12.
Rose says coming to LCRA was a career move from the beginning and calls the agency one of the finest anywhere. His reaction to being named general manager?
I'm excited and feel honored to be the general manager of LCRA. It's a tremendous honor, even though I've been at LCRA for 3 years. It's still something that I see as a challenge, the job as general manager, and something that excites me, flatters me, and to a certain extent awes me.
Will people see a different Mark Rose? You've essentially been doing the job since April, but now you have the position.
I'm not as tough as I think some folks think I am. As I said before, I'm not a mean fella. I don't kick little chickens in the river or eat dead cats or do anything like that. I'm not walking around looking to rip the place apart. I am pretty outspoken. I believe that good performance should be rewarded, but I also think that if you don't perform, you should be given an opportunity to correct that performance. But if you don't, then you shouldn't be a part of the organization. And if you can't see that, then the organization needs to help you see that.
Rose says he doesn't plan any major restructuring at LCRA, but says there is a broad concern he intends to address.
There seemed to be a debate between keeping your sense of family and moving forward into the future and changing LCRA. I think that we can do both. I think we can be innovative and aggressive and change, but at the same time have a sense of family, have a sense of camaraderie that many employees feel like we've lost.
How do you recapture that sense of family?
The real purpose in studying history or knowing your history is to help you plan for the future. It isn't so that you can wallow in the past. That would be the unhealthy side of knowing your history or to holding on. So we approach that loss of family or those things those feelings by knowing what to keep and what not to keep. It's whether folks like it or not, or like to hear it or not, it's just a fact that LCRA was under heavy criticism in the past for not doing enough, for not cleaning up the Colorado River, for just focusing on electric operations. We don't keep that. We don't repeat that. So, you know, we do it by clearly defining our mission and understanding what it is that we're supposed to be doing here as an organization, and then all of us working together to achieve those goals.
What are the top challenges for LCRA now?
Well, on the power side, it's settling the rate case and getting out of the PUC alive, and hopefully without having to come back next year for another rate increase. We have a goal of going through this rate increase and getting Cummins Creek into the rate base and not coming back for a couple of years. And I think it's important that we stick to that goal, even if we don't get as much money as the PUC wants us, and even if we have to tighten our belt. We cannot continue to raise rates again and again and again. And we're in our 4th rate increase, and I don't think there should be a 5th one. And I think that's a goal we've all got to come together on, employees and management, and figure out how to make happen, even if we get a tough bill of goods from the PUC commissioners. Secondly, we've got to make some important decisions over the next year or so about what the next source of generation is going to be, as well as what role lignite is going to play in the organization. And that is an important one. On the water side, we're marching down the Colorado River, so to speak. And we've got a major challenge with the city of Austin. We've been working with them for over a year to try to get them to significantly upgrade their future water and wastewater permits. It's tough selling right now, but we're hopeful that we'll have a major agreement with them before the year's out. On the employee side, we've got, as I said, just the potential issue of having to revisit the budget because of the PUC case. We've got the employee pay equity issue that's out there, which is not something that we handled well. And we've got too many folks upset about that, too many folks thinking that we took care of one group over here and haven't taken care of the other. So I've called all of that to a halt, and I've brought in a consultant to work with management. And it may cost us some time, and it may cost us a little bit of money, but we're going to look at it comprehensively and try to establish what is fair across the board for everybody. And that's a tough job, and it's going to take some time, but I think the way that we're doing it with the consultant is the best way to do it.
Rose says he has made no decision yet on a deputy general manager, but says one of his first priorities will be to get out and visit as many employees as possible. LCRA's rate case hearing is now in its 4th week. The rate request is being heard by a PUC hearing examiner who will listen to all of the facts and then make a recommendation to the PUC itself. How is the case going so far?
We're in week 3 of what may turn out to be about a 10-week hearing, and we're just concluding our direct case, and we'll really have to get into the intervener's case and our rebuttal case to know how we're doing.
You may remember this July 7th article in which a small group of our customers essentially questioned the financial health of LCRA. That article prompted some concerns from people who hold our bonds who wanted to know what was going on. To answer those concerns, Standard & Poor's has issued an update reaffirming LCRA's A bond rating. That rating, says S&P, reflects LCRA's sound financial performance, stable service area economy, competitive wholesale rates of 3.89 cents per kilowatt hour, and the agency's exposure to rate regulation. Concerning our rate hike request before the PUC, S&P says, any final rate award less than that asked for by LCRA would necessitate acceleration and expansion of plans for further rate increases. Former LCRA board member Jim Garrison was recognized for his 4 years on the board. Garrison stepped down from his position in July in order to devote full time to a new job with the federal government.
I hated to leave. I think everybody knows that. And the association that I've had with the staff and everybody here, the directors, will be with me forever.
Mr. Garrison was presented with a resolution of appreciation for his work, along with the gavel recognizing his position as board chairman. Also, LCRA has welcomed new board member Mike Luxinger of Burnett, who fills the vacancy left by Garrison. Luxinger is general counsel and business manager for Camp Longhorn on Inks Lake. He will complete Garrison's term, which will end in February of 1993. Hats go off to the tremendous job done by our crew at Cummings Creek for keeping the mining equipment there in excellent shape. The equipment was bought in 1985 and 1986 and has never been used. Now it will be put up for sale with a chance of getting the best possible prices because of its excellent condition.
So then when the project was canceled, we just kept on with our regular maintenance program and keep the machine in the best possible use for a future sale.
The Fuels Department is producing a brochure and a video describing the various pieces of equipment. Those materials will be distributed to potential buyers around the world.
1, 2, 3.
This ribbon-cutting ceremony marked the grand opening of F&L Lumber and Hardware in Kingsland. LCRA's Economic and Industrial Development Department helped the new owners get a loan from the Small Business Administration.
This lumberyard had actually already closed down when Sherman and Ted reopened. So not only is it helping the community in that they now can buy their hardware and lumber locally, but it helps the community in that there's people that are working that would have been unemployed.
Co-owners Ted Langworthy and Sherman Finkel saw the old business here go downhill over the years, and they had a dream to buy it, reopen it, and make it a successful enterprise.
With the help of LCRA, they put a package together that was just really splendid. We couldn't have done it without them, and we presented, and they, along with their help, to the SBA, and finally everything went through, and here we are. Right. And proud to be here, too.
Langworthy says they hope to add a complete garden center next year and expand from 6 to 13 employees.
Last year, LCRA began an aggressive program to reduce the amount of water being used in the rice fields. Pat Freese takes a look at how our water measurement program is coming along and how rice farmers feel about it.
As the water flows through the irrigation canals, many rice farmers are expecting a bumper crop. There are roughly 400,000 acres of rice grown in Texas each year, and over 50,000 depend on water from LCRA's irrigation districts. There has been growing concern over the amount of water that the farmers are using. This year it will take 324,000 acre-feet of water to irrigate the fields. That's roughly 1/4 the size of Lake Travis. But this water box could be one solution to the problem. As the water is diverted to the field, it is measured, and ultimately water measurement will be used as the basis for charging farmers for what they actually use.
Actually, I'm checking this water level recorder. It checks the fluctuation of the canal.
LCRA has already installed measurement boxes on 10% of the fields, and although some farmers are concerned about changes in the price structure, many think it will ultimately help the industry.
I think you have to make people maybe want to save. We don't unless we have to. So I think a metering will be good for the industry.
Nelson Eisenhower and William Brunner are both third-generation rice farmers. They feel the meters may actually save them money.
Some of us that are trying to conserve right now are kind of paying for the guys that are losing the water, that are wasting it. We're having to carry them, pay the excess, and I I think it ought to be to where each man pays for what he uses. And if you're a conserver, you'll get a cheaper rate, and if you're a waster, well, you'll pay for it.
Right now, technicians are busy fine-tuning the system and hope to have 40% of all the fields metered by next year. The measuring project is expected to be in full swing by 1993. At that time, it's expected that farmers will be able to grow the same amount of rice using 25% less water.
The year was 1964, and all of this construction activity was big news in Bastrop County. The Lower Colorado River Authority was building the Sim Gideon Power Plant to help meet an ever-increasing demand for electricity in Central Texas. The original price tag of $16 million made it the lowest cost power plant per megawatt in the country at that time. Today, the gas-fired plant has 3 units, one added in 1968, the other in 1972, giving it a total generating capacity of 625 megawatts.
Without a doubt, the best power plant in the state of Texas.
In honor of 25 years of service, this barbecue lunch was held recently for Sim Gideon employees, retirees, and special guests. For plant manager Dan Boone, it is a milestone in his career with LCRA, which started in 1963.
The first day I came out to work, they had one main structure beam of the building put up, and we're starting to pour the turbine pedestal, concrete.
LCRA board member Cecil Long was chairman of the board back when the bonds were issued to build the plant.
It was a great thing. When we brought this in, well, we were so happy that we could bring some new industry here, and this was great. It was wonderful. You know, we had Camp Swift here, and that was a great boost to have all those soldiers and all in our area. And of course, they were all gone, and things were pretty low back in the early '60s. And to get something like this, well, it was really great. It made all the merchants feel like that there would be no more hard times.
Today, Sim Gideon Steam Plant ranks among the most efficient in the state, though 2 of the units are turned on and off, sometimes daily, to meet changing electrical demand. When the first unit went online in 1964, there were 30 employees. Today, there are 80, with an annual payroll of $3.2 million. The steam plant's namesake, Sim Gideon, was general manager of LCRA from 1955 to 1973.
Well, that's it for this edition of Wavelength. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next time.